Hi there. So let's just continue on. Let's say, for example, I have something like number 3 over here. I need to still find that. I need to still find my focus, my directrix, and my axis of symmetry, right? I need to find those 3 things. So, to approach this problem, it's going to be the same idea, right? I need to make sure that the equation I'm working with follows any of these 2 possible forms, right? So let's just compare what we have here. We have a we have an x minus 9 squared is equal to 16 times y minus 5. Now, if I'm looking at this, right, my x, before we were just saying that we want to isolate the x squared, but now there's something being minused from the x, right? Now the thing is, we're going to look at it as we want to isolate the expression being squared, right? So the expression being squared is x minus 9. So if we look at this example, x minus 9 is by itself, so it's isolated, so we can continue on. And now between these 2, you can tell just by looking at it, I'm going to choose this one over here. This one has my x minus whatever number squared, isolated, and the y on the other side. This is perfect. I'm going to rewrite this form right under this equation. And my graph is either going to open up like this or it's going to open down like this. Right? And we're just going to find that out. Let's go. Okay. All right. So first, I just want to rewrite everything. You know. Ugh. Oh no, why is it right like this? Is equal to 4p y minus k. All right, cool. I rewrote it. Now I want to start replacing things. So over here, I need to make this space. Okay. Over here, I'm just going to replace it. Well, actually, I don't really have to rewrite it. I can just have it underneath each other like this. Okay. Now, all right. So it's the same idea as before, right? My vertex, it's going to be the same h, k, right? Now my vertex over here, h, now this is where, okay, so whenever we're trying to find the values of h and k, before we just looked at zeros. Now we're actually looking at actual numbers. And the way this is going to work is you want to find the inverse of each of these numbers. So the inverse of a negative 9, that's going to be a positive 9. So my h value is positive 9. And k, the opposite of negative 5, or the inverse of negative 5, is just going to be a positive 5. So there, that is my new vertex. Now, just like before, we want to mark it in our graph. Now, sometimes when you're drawing the graph, you could draw it out like these, or just like we had it before, where things were a bit more like symmetrical. That's just so you can fit all your values. So if you're copying this in your notebook, you can even draw your graphs like this. Okay, so now let's mark our vertex. So 9 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, wow. Just add it. And then we want 9 up. So what? No, we want 5 up. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, so it should be right over here. That's my vertex. Now, All right, so now I need to find my spaces, right? My p's. So I'm going to set 4p equal to that 16 because they're in the same place. So over here, I'm going to isolate the p just by using straight algebra. And this is telling me it's going to be 4 spaces. Now, it's a positive 4, right? So if we're looking at this example, since my positive 4 is bigger than the 0, it's going to face up. My parabola is going to face up. So with this one right over here, this parabola, if I were to just to sketch it out, I'm just going to sketch it out tiny like this. It's going to face up. And now I have to find my focus. So my focus is always going to be that point that's within the range of the parabola. So I'm just going to count 4 spaces up. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where my new parabola is going to be. Sorry, my new focus point is going to be at. It's F. And then I need to count 4 in the opposite direction for my directrix. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is going to represent our directrix, this whole line. And now axis of symmetry, that's the line that's cutting the parabola in half. So it's going to be this line right over here. So that line. Okay. So let's fill out what we just found. So my focus point, my focus is going to be, let's see, you're still at 9, but you counted 4 more spaces. So 4, so this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So my focus is going to be 9, 9. My directrix, now whenever we're looking for the directrix, it's going to always be an equation, not a point. So I'm going to write over here, this directrix, it's touching the y-axis at 1, right? So I'm going to write over here, y is equal to 1. That's my directrix. And now I want to find my axis of symmetry. It's going to be this line. And this time it's touching the x-axis. So it's going to be x is equal to 9. All right. So that's how we tackle that. That's how we tackle that example.